A new episode of Real Housewives of New Jersey. All right, so we got episode 3 of the season that just aired last night. And oh my, it's all about messy Fessy. Also, guys, if my hair is super extra curly today, it's because your girl has dinner plans and this curly Sue has things to do. Let's get into the Real Housewives of New Jersey drama that aired last night. And if you haven't subscribed, turn on notifications, done all that good YouTube stuff, definitely do that. And let's get into the recap. All right. So if you guys see me looking down, it's because I got a bunch of notes and I don't really want to cover all of this episode. We don't need to get into the nitty gritty, but there were some scenes that stood out from the others where it was, I guess you could call it more of the meat. So, right off the bat, we see Rachel and Margaret just going after Messy Fessy. They just don't understand why the Messler is even friendly with Teresa. We have Rachel, who throughout the episode is like, I'm not going to tell you who to be or not to be friends with. And we have Margaret over here, who's just like trying to tell the Messler who she can or can't be friends with. Apparently, they go way back. And because of that loyalty, Jen Fessler should not even be cordial with Teresa. I mean, I don't know how you guys run your friendships, but I think this whole team stuff, especially with women in their like 50s. I mean, Rachel and Danielle are obviously younger, they're in their 30s, but the rest of them are like in their 40s to 50s. And this is just very odd behavior. Now, the whole issue with Jen Fessler, as Rachel was saying in her confessional, basically, Jen Fessler was talking ill about Louis and Teresa. Just, I guess whatever Louis and Teresa were up to, Jen Fessler behind the scenes was calling them out. However, to Teresa's face, it seems like Jen Fessler wants to be her bestie. So Rachel finds that a bit odd and she's calling that out. Now, this episode was, of course, all about Melissa Gorga throwing Joe Gorga a birthday party. And I guess the man is turning 50. Anyways, I am not sure why she made it a point to throw him like an Italian themed birthday party. I don't know, the whole theme of it was kind of lost on me why she chose it, if it was sentimental or what it was, but Italian theme party at the Jersey Shore feels very meta. So, since this next party is going to be the Gorgas throwing it, hosting it, all that, and Teresa and Louis are not on talking terms, speaking terms with Melissa and Joe Gorga, they decide to leave the Aiden Shore house, but it's not just that they wanted to like miss the party, but also Teresa wanted to help who's her next daughter, Gabriella, pack for U Michigan. So Louis and Teresa left the shore, which leaves Dolores and Polly at the Aiden house. Dolores and Polly obviously got an invite to the Gorga party. We see a call between Joe Gorga and Bill Aiden, and lovingly, Joe Gorga calls him Tony the Turk. I guess that's Bill Aiden's name when he is, I don't know, he had a couple too many drinks. He turns into Tony the Turk. Good time guy. And it is a little sad to see these two brothers, not like legit brothers, but like brotherly love, where you could tell Joe Gorga and Bill Aiden want to hang out, but their wives are just like at each other's throats. And the back and forth between Jennifer Aiden and Melissa, it's just been going on for so many years. I just think these two should call it troops. Is it troops? Anyways, you guys know what I mean. I think they should just like call it a day, like, hey, we're never going to be besties, but we can be cordial with each other when we see each other. And hang out in a group setting. But of course, Bill Aiden had his wife's back. He had Jennifer Aiden's back. Like, no, you know what? Joe, the women, our wives, Melissa and Jennifer, they should talk it out. And basically, Bill lets Joe Gorga know that the Aidens are not going to make his birthday, which was kind of sad to see. At this point of the season, Jennifer Aiden has Teresa's back, ride or die. The Aidens, I guess, have made a pact with Louis and Teresa. But I don't know. I think throughout the season, we're going to see Aiden and Melissa Gorga soften a little bit. I don't think these two will ever be besties. But side note, we see Jennifer Aiden in her confessional basically being like, Bill Aiden, you don't want to deal with the wrath from me. Like, basically, you better have my back. Like, we go in as a team. And obviously, was it last season or the one before we had all that talk about Bill Aiden cheating on Jennifer years ago with, I don't know, like a someone from his office. And they got through that. And I don't know, maybe it did make them stronger. So I think she's making a point of the fact that Bill Aiden now has her back 100%. It's always a lovely moment when we get to see Teresa with her daughters. Really, all of the Jersey cast, just when it's like family time. Really, that's what makes the show. I probably said it before and I'm going to say it again. Jersey is all about family. Yes, we have drama, but quite honestly, we don't really want to see the drama and how low and low down dirty it's gotten. We really just want to see the families because they're so interconnected. We want to see how they, move. We want to see, yeah, we want to see some disagreements, but not to a point where people are digging up dirt and using PI and lawyers and whatnot. It just doesn't feel good. It takes the feel good away, is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, we see Teresa with her daughters. Gabriella is packing for college. It's very sentimental, which is why I'm using this, pic from when they were younger. Guys, I started watching this show when I was fairly young myself. So then to see these girls go from like 2 feet tall to, the young ladies that they are, it's a lot. It's like, wow, time has really flied. And I've been watching these people for like 14 years. That's a lot of time in my own life. Anyways, um, one key thing I took away from this was Teresa's confessional when she was like, Joe Giudice, who was on FaceTime. He is not helping out with the girls' tuition for college because, obviously his money is, I don't know, tied up, and he's also not legally in the country anymore. He was extradited. Is that the term? I could have the wrong term. But basically, I don't know why his parents didn't do the paperwork to ensure that he became an American citizen. And then whatever tax fraud crimes, whatever they did with the mortgage stuff, they just said, no, you got to go. You got to leave the country. So now the man's in Italy slash the Bahamas. And then I think it was like the producer or whoever was doing the confessional with Teresa. They asked about if Louis is helping with the girls' college. And Teresa's like, yeah, this whole time, the front that Teresa and Louis, but Teresa puts on is she makes good money. Louis doesn't touch her money. And I don't know, she sometimes says he makes more, but like, we don't really know where his money comes from. Like, in a couple lines, the man cannot say where his, income comes from. Whereas we know Teresa gets paid very well, at least, I don't know, what is she at? Like $2 million now from the show. And of course, I'm sure she has like sponsorships and brand deals and whatnot outside of the show. So all that definitely helps pay for her and the girls and her and Louis' extravagant lifestyle that we see splashed over social media, going from vacation to vacation, is what it seems like. Now, other than that, I have to say Teresa does have a good outlook. The fact that her daughters are venturing out, especially Gabriella, the fact that she thinks Gabriella out of her daughters she could probably see her living in another country. And I think that's quite sweet. Like, if you raise your kids right, then yeah, they are going to do good things in the world. They're going to be smart. Like, Gia, she is on her way to becoming a lawyer, and Gabriella apparently is going to help with the family finances. And let's be real, like, I'm sure what Joe and Teresa went through, I'm sure it impacted these kids and left an imprint. But thankfully, it left a positive imprint on these girls because look at what they're doing. They're smart, they're going into great schools, and I'm sure we're going to see them flourish and do amazing things in the future. The conversation between Teresa and Louis in the backyard. First of all, Louis, I don't know why you're making fun of another man's looks. Whether John Fuda is attractive, ugly, who cares? At the end of the day, we got to give props to John Fuda for losing the weight. Good for him. It's not easy to lose weight. Good for him, his season 1 to season 2 glow up along with Messy Fessy. Anyways, this whole Teresa, what is it? Just peddling back and saying to Louis, like, no, 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 she didn't think John Fuda is he's not the biggest dealer in Bergen County now. He was the biggest dealer back then. But then in a scene we did see Rachel clarify, yeah, he got caught for like weed or whatever when he was 16, 17. Do you guys really think John Fuda when he was 16, 17 running game and like the biggest drug dealer? Like, that to me sounds insane. But then I don't know what kids are doing in school these days. They could be running game and becoming the biggest drug dealer in their own counties. Who knows? Besides the point. Now, I would say I'm a little bit more objective when it comes to these shows. I watch these shows for entertainment. I enjoy it. I'll call you out if I see you, doing something dirty. And if you do something great, I will give you props. Now, in the case of the Fudas, I'm seeing all this commentary about, oh, they're thirsty. Let's roll back. When it came to last season, the reunion, Louis hired Bo Beetle. Am I getting his name right? Bo Beetle, the PI, who's now in front of cameras now, getting his own camera time. Basically, they hired folks behind the scenes to learn more about the Fudas and get dirt on them. Like, why did you have to do that? It just makes no sense. They literally reached out to John Fuda's baby mama, who I still don't understand if she was at a halfway house or she was doing time. Doesn't matter. Point is, Louis and Teresa went after the Fudas in a very dirty manner. Fast forward to this season of filming, we see why the Fudas are red hot coming for Teresa and Louis. So when Louis and Teresa act like, oh, they're after us, like, da 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 da, it's like, no, 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 no. Hold up a bit. You guys went for the Fudas. They didn't start this. So I understand why the Fudas are behaving the way they're behaving. All right, so we finally get to Joe Gorga's birthday party, and John Fuda hands Joe Gorga a blow up doll. See, this is where the Jersey men come in and they are comedic relief. They're just guys being guys, eating meatballs, playing golf, doing some other funny stuff. This is when, they should enter the scene and be fun and entertaining, not get in women's drama. So we see Margaret sharing the call that Joe Gorga had with Bill Aiden, and then, Bill Aiden basically saying that they won't be attending this time. I just want everyone to kind of keep it in the back of their head. I find Margaret to be quite the instigator. we've seen this a couple times just throughout the first 3 episodes of the season. If she has something she wants to run with, she will bring it up here, she'll bring it up there, she'll talk to this person, be mad that another person isn't, carrying the grenade for her. So here, I thought it was very interesting that she, brought up the call, and she basically wants to make a point of the fact that the Aidens aren't attending this birthday party, and essentially what Bill said to Joe Gorga on the phone. And it was interesting to watch because Rachel hears out Margaret once again, and Rachel is like, "Yeah, you know what? If I was in Jennifer Aydin's shoes, I wouldn't attend either. Perfectly makes sense." Of course, we see Margaret wasn't too happy about that. The episode pretty much ends with these 4 bickering, but we're gonna get back to them. Guys, the way Frank Catania approaches Dolores and Polly, it was pretty hilarious because the way he sets the scene, it's, like, so ominous. Frank is like, "Oh, when I was away or I'm going away or I'm thinking about something." And I'm sure Dolo and Polly were thinking like, "Where are you going away? Like what's going on?" But anyways, Frank is like, "Hey, I was in Costa Rica." I forgot what he said. It was something to the extent of when he was in Costa Rica or he's going to Costa Rica. But basically, he's thinking about proposing to his girlfriend, Brittany. And from all the ladies, it seems like Brittany is a favorite amongst the group. She's just like a sweet girl. She's not really involved in the drama. She really cares for Frank, and Dolo and all the other girls and, everyone that knows them really likes them as a couple. And Dolo did kind of, throw him under the bus a little bit in her confessional, like, or to his face, I forget. But basically, for like the last 30 years, he just had his boats, he had his hopes, and that was his life, And he finally grew out of it. It only took him like 50 something years, but whatever. The man finally grew out of it, and now he found Brittany in his life, and Dolores is happy that um there's someone to take care of Frank. And the way Frank shares that news with Dolores and Polly. They're both very happy. And this isn't, I don't know if this is going to be on the show, but I did see pics that Dolores was part of Brittany's bridal shower. So, and I think it was in an interview where Dolores was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be at the wedding." So it's all good with the Catanias and their extended family. But let's not forget the little shade that Frank threw at Polly, like, "Hey, when are you getting, well, when are you proposing to Dolores?" Yeah, I don't think Polly can do that while he is still separated for like 10 years. We gotta clear that up. Okay, back to this mess, and this is pretty much how we end the episode. We see Jackie entering the chat, but when Jackie enters the scene, it feels very ominous. I don't know, like, did you guys feel the vibe changing? Like, it was just, like, so weird, and obviously, Jackie is still butting heads with, Danielle. They still don't like each other. Okay. I got a lot of notes here, so if you guys see me looking down, it's my notes. Now, Margaret, we see her reenacting the conversation Jen Fessler and Teresa had the night of like the first party they had at the Jersey Shore. And I feel like this is what not even teenagers, like little kids do. They'll kind of like, I don't even know what the term is, but basically, this is just like such childish behavior. And Margaret is a woman of a certain age. So it's just very odd that she's behaving this way. So we see Jackie join the chat. Now we see Fessler in defense mode. And she's basically saying to Margaret and Rachel Fuda, like, "No, I didn't speak poorly of Louis." I don't even know why Jen Fessler feels the need to defend herself. I think she should just kind of like have some strong boundaries. And the reason I say that is because, well, based on what we're seeing, but also if you guys have seen some of the interviews Margaret has done the last couple weeks, Margaret literally calls Jen Fessler weak sauce over and over again. I'm just like, damn, that's your girl. Like you guys were friends for like however many years. And now you're just like calling her weak sauce all over town, all over the media. With friends like these, who needs friends, right? Anyways, Jackie then calls out Margaret, like, hey, no one is like sugarcoating for Fessler. And I really like what Messy Fessy said to Margaret that she's not one of her soldiers. See, this is what Margaret likes. Margaret likes to instigate and she likes to cause division. And I think she's not getting the memo from the audience at this point. We're sick and over this whole like divide and conquer. Team this, team that. And it just seems like Margaret and Melissa, they are trying to hoard as many people as they can on their team against Teresa. Now, is it for good reasons? Of course, we can, get into that discussion another time, but both sides have acted in a way that is low down dirty. Anyways, good for Messy Fessy for standing up and saying she's not one of Margaret's soldiers. And then we see Rachel Fuda. She starts to cry. And it was kind of like, odd because didn't Rachel Fuda and Jen Fessler meet like a year ago? Where obviously they filmed this like last August, but a year prior to whenever they're filming this. So how close have Rachel Fuda and Jen Fessler have gotten in like a year? Also, guys, you have to keep in mind the age gap. Um, Obviously, Messy Bestie, she just celebrated her 55th birthday, and Rachel Fuda is a younger housewife in her early 30s. So there's like a 20-year gap between these women. I'm not trying to like be an ageist or anything like that. I'm just like pointing out the fact that there is an age gap between these two women. So it's kind of like, Rachel, why are you crying? Like, that's just like so weird. Anyways, Fessler, she sees Rachel crying. Fessler pretty much is out. She leaves the chat. And then Danielle is part of the mix. She sees Rachel Fuda crying. And I don't know, the whole thing was kind of absurd. We see Jackie enter the chat, and she seems to be on an island with Messy Fessy in the middle. We see Margaret and Rachel Fuda and Melissa on one team slash island over here. And then, of course, Jennifer Aiden and Teresa on an island over here. And then we have Dolores just, I don't know, taking a helicopter ride and going on all three islands and seeing what each of these women are up to. It's very strange. And that's pretty much where we end off. Messy Fessy, she storms out. Okay, she didn't storm out, but she leaves the chat. I hope you guys enjoyed this recap, the sentimental scenes that we get out of this show. Honestly, I think makes New Jersey and all the team stuff, and then obviously all the drama outside of the show, which I don't like to cover really during the recaps, but I might spend some time covering some of the outside the show stuff in different videos. So definitely subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good stuff to catch that coverage. And other than that, we're going to keep doing the recaps. We're having a good time here covering Jersey. Subscribe, share, do all that fun YouTube stuff. I'm going to head off to dinner, and yeah, I will catch you guys later.